Hello friends, it's me, and today, food theory, liquid death just... what? F word itself. From the food theorists. Together, let's go, let's start.
This one brand of water is one of the fastest growing beverage companies in the world. But not only that, it's brought liquid death to the alcohol industry. But its next victim, maybe itself.
Hello Internet, welcome to Style Theory.
Whoa. What are you doing?
You said we were doing a crossover.
That doesn't mean you get to come into my house and do my intro. You know what? We clearly need some practice. It's Wet and Wild Water Weekend.
Hate it.
Wet and Wild Water Weekend. I do my episode, you do yours. Now could you just, please?
Fine. But we are not calling it Wet.
Amy, go on!
You're gonna get us canceled.
Hello Internet, welcome to Food Theory, the show that wants to murder your thirst. And you know who else wants to...
Okay, that escalated quickly. Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory. Food Stop! Sorry. Hello Internet, welcome to Food Theory.
Liquid death. You may have seen it at live music events, at bars, or maybe you've seen their unique advertising. Breaking the law. But inside one of those cans is nothing more than some good old-fashioned H2O. But despite just selling water in a can, Liquid Death has grown in just 5 years to become a company worth over $1.4 billion, putting it up there with the other big players in the beverage space. Not only that, it's bringing its competition down. But how? Well, the story of Liquid Death is really a story of its founder, Mike Cesario. Around 2008, Mike was attending the legendary Warped Tour, but he noticed that all of the bands that were performing were chugging down Monster energy drinks like there was no tomorrow. He got curious how their hearts weren't collectively bursting like some horror movie, and it turns out what these bands were actually drinking was what was known as Monster Tour Water, which was just water in a can made up to look like a can of Monster. And this idea of putting water in a cool can stuck inside Mike's head for years and eventually led to the creation of the canned water behemoth it is today. But there has to be some secret ingredient that makes Liquid Death so special, you know, besides the water. And it turns out there is. Liquid Death has taken the golden rules of marketing, what are delightfully known as the 4 C's, and turned them on their head. These 4 C's have allowed Liquid Death to take a product literally called Liquid Death and turn it into a billion-dollar company. So take a seat, loyal theorists, and crack open a cold one as we dissect how Liquid Death annihilated the bottled water industry, crushed the alcohol industry, and to find out who the next victim of Liquid Death will be. The first of the 4...
Alright, I'm gonna guess it's very good marketing. Very good at it.
4 C's we're going to be looking at is communication. You know, how a brand communicates with its customers. This can be via advertisements, email marketing, or some saucy social media posts. And Liquid Death takes all of those communication strategies and cranks them up to 11. This isn't your grandma's edgy Wendy's Twitter account, okay? Case in point, their very first ad.
Water isn't cute. Water is deadly. It kills innocent surfers and snowboarders and kayakers.
Dude, I mean, they're out of line, but they're right. Now, it may not totally shock you to hear this, but Liquid Death originally had some trouble finding investors to support its canned water business. I know, shocking. So good old Mike, someone with a background in advertising for things like Netflix, needed to make a proof of concept. He made the ad you just saw and released it on Facebook. But the twist, when he released the ad, he hadn't made a single can of the stuff. There was no product yet. So yeah, communication was at the forefront of Liquid Death's brand before there was even any Liquid Death. Speaking of communication, are you tired of being asked to join boring email marketing lists? Well, instead, why don't you sign up for Liquid Death's cult, where you agree to be, and I quote, brainwashed through rare but hilarious emails. Or if that's not enough, why don't you join their rewards club, where you have to literally sign away your soul to the company? That is not a punchline. That is real facts. And nearly 250,000 now soulless people have done so, myself included. My guy Liquid
Why?
Death saw the satanic panic over things like Monster Energy and was like, hold my oh wait, they probably just said hold my can of water. A little wordy, but I'll accept it. And of course, no brand's communication infrastructure would be complete without celebrity endorsements. And these, I mean, my god, they're insane. Like the time they took Tony Hawk's actual blood and mixed it with red paint to create some limited edition skateboards. Or when famous rock star Ozzy Osbourne came on screen to warn kids to not snort the electrolyte powder. And who could forget when they partnered with a real adult film star, or so I'm told, to praise
Oh, how did you know that, Santi? How did you know that? Sus.
Liquid Death's environmental benefits.
Because even though I'm into getting my by somebody who can really, one thing I'm not into is single-use plastics.
That's certainly one way to make sure it always comes to mind. But sometimes Liquid Death's off-the-wall marketing ends up rustling a few feathers. For example, when Liquid Death released their half iced tea, half lemonade product, they decided to name it Armless Palmer, a macabre reference to Arnold Palmer, the deceased golfer who's credited with inventing the drink. But apparently, either Palmer's estate or Arizona Iced Tea, who sells the Arnold Palmer drink, didn't find it funny. They sent Liquid Death a cease and desist to stop using the name. So what did Liquid Death do? They decided not to fight the lawsuit. But they didn't quietly back down either. Instead, they posted on Instagram that they were changing the name of the drink to Dead Billionaire, a name it still has to this day. And if at this point you're thinking, do the people at Liquid Death just think of the dumbest possible thing and then just roll with it? Yep, that's exactly what they do.
One exercise that we still do today, we ask the question, what is the dumbest possible idea we could do for this?
And this no idea is a bad idea type mindset harkens back to Cesario's background in advertising. He hated working in corporate advertising because he felt that brands played it too safe and they didn't want to push the envelope far enough. Something that Liquid Death clearly has no problem doing.
Yeah, so I guess go to liquiddeath.com to get skateboards with my blood in it.
And all of this barely scratches the surface of Liquid Death's unique communication style. But its success isn't just in the way they communicate with customers. They also need to make sure their product was actually worth the silliness. The second C that contributed to Liquid Death's meteoric rise is cost. And I'm not just talking about those dollar bills. Besides hashtag murder your thirst, Liquid Death's other major tagline is hashtag death to plastic. I'm sure it's no secret to you loyal theorists that single-use plastics have become a big environmental concern over the past few decades.
Especially for the younger generations who have grown up. Me, when I was in school, when I was in secondary school, when I grew up, I was taught the importance of global warming and, you know, the harm that it can do to us. That was a few years ago.
The fossil fuels used to make and transport them to the millions of bottles that make it into landfills and our oceans every year. But you might be asking yourself, plastic water bottles are recyclable, right? Yeah, kind of. While it is true that most of your plastic drink bottles are technically recyclable, the process of recycling that bottle has become so expensive that a lot of companies don't even bother anymore. In fact, just 12% of plastic bottles end up in recycling bins anyway, and only around half of those actually get recycled. And even those bottles that do get recycled often get what is called downcycled, where they aren't turned into a new plastic bottle, but some other lower quality plastic that it itself can't be recycled. Point is, very few plastic bottles get recycled, and the ones that do are only recycled once before ending up in landfills. And that's where Liquid Death's aluminum can has the advantage. Yes, Tom, I'm saying aluminum. Aluminum. You see, not only do aluminum cans have a
Alright, I'm gonna try it. Aluminium. What's the difference, bro? I'm sorry, man. It's same but different. Sorry.
much higher recycling rate, around 50 to 65%, but aluminum cans can be recycled an infinite number of times. And companies who make aluminum cans love using recycled aluminum because it ends up using around 95% less energy. All in all, around half of the aluminum in your cans is recycled compared to basically none of the plastic in your plastic bottle. Of course, that's not to say that the process of extracting new aluminum from the ground doesn't come with its own host of environmental problems. But while the environmental costs are stark, Liquid Death also considers the cost to your wallet and how it's grown its brand. When Liquid Death first launched, the water came from a special mountain source from Austria. Now, if you saw our water taste test episode, you'll know that water from a single source tends to be more expensive, since all global shipments have to come out of a single location, driving up the cost. In fact, according to Liquid Death, nearly half of their expenses came solely from shipping costs. So Liquid Death decided to move their operation stateside. But instead of switching to filtered lake water like Coke or Pepsi, they found two new mountain sources in McKay, Idaho, and Bland, Virginia. Side note, can I just say that I love that the water from Liquid Death comes from a town called Bland? Heck, the way Liquid Death runs things, I wouldn't be surprised if they picked Bland as their bottling location because of its name. But regardless, Liquid Death is able to brand itself as a mountain water similar to Evian and Fiji, but since they're based out of the US, the cost to ship it is significantly less, which again is important since shipping aluminum is always going to be more expensive than shipping plastic. All in all, at one grocery store, a single tall boy, around 19.2 fluid ounces, can cost around $1.99 per can, with a pack of 8 costing around $14. Pound for pound, this means that despite being in a more expensive packaging, it can be even cheaper for customers per can than even Aquafina. Although, when it comes to the bigger packs, nothing will ever beat plastic bottled water. But aluminum...
But that's the thing. You don't go to the mall to buy huge. You don't go to the mall to buy a huge lot. You normally just buy one singular can at the bar, right? You don't buy a huge, like, hey guys, let's have 20. You don't do that, right?
Cans don't just help cut costs to the environment and your budget, but cut the cost to your health as well. If you saw our short about why Coke in a glass bottle is goated, then you'll know that plastic bottles tend to leak small amounts of the plastic into the beverage. These microplastics can then invade and stay in your tissues and can cause long-term damage. Meanwhile, aluminum cans tend to absorb some of the ingredients in things like soda, leading to a blander taste. But when you're selling water from Bland, Virginia, who cares? It's water! I suspect this is why people who taste Liquid Death love it so much, and why I see Liquid Death everywhere. Speaking of, it doesn't matter how great you are at marketing your product or the supposed benefits of it. If no one can buy it, it doesn't really matter. Nowadays, you can buy Liquid Death just about anywhere, from your local 7-Elevens to big grocery stores. It even has its own special shop page on Amazon. But let's
recap a bit, shall we? The first C is communication. Second C is cost. Third C is convenience. What is the fourth C?
play a little bit of a game. By taking a look at Liquid Death and its general aesthetic, which big retailer do you think was the first to give Liquid Death its big break? Believe it or not, it was Whole Foods. I know! Liquid Death has a big Trader Joe's energy, but apparently Whole Foods of all things was the first to join the cult of Liquid Death and rolled it out in their stores nationwide, which is practically unheard of for a new product like that. Liquid Death also recently partnered with Live Nation, the leading live entertainment company, to become the exclusive water provider for its events, meaning that millions of people not only have it available within reach, at some venues it's even more convenient than the big boys like Dasani, Aquafina, and Nestle. Oh, and if plain water isn't your thing, they also sell sparkling water, flavored water, even electrolyte powder called Death Dust to help keep the party going. They even sell, well, allow me to tell you a story. One day, in my many trips to our office in Raleigh, I was just minding my business, writing scripts, when I heard this uproarious scream coming from the analytics office. I thought that maybe Food Theory had reached 6 million subscribers. Turned out no. But if you hit—
Wait. Let me see. 5.51 million. It's good. It's good. Subscribe. Thank you.
hit the subscribe button down below, you could help us get there. But no, when I walked into their office, Sam and Josiah were going absolutely feral. And what, pray tell, had gotten these normally straight-laced guys to lose their gosh dang minds? Apparently, Liquid Death had paired with the ice cream parlor chain Van Leeuwen to make a hot fudge sundae sparkling water. And before you think that Liquid Death has gone too far, Josiah said it was quite nice and did taste like a 20-calorie hot fudge sundae. Did he give me any? No, and I will never forgive him. So yet again, Liquid Death might do the dumbest thing possible, but when it comes down to it, they sure know what their customers really want, even if they don't know it yet. The last of the 4 C's that turned one guy's dumb dream of canned water into an empire is the customer. You know, us, the ones with money who have to choose whether to buy your thing or not. Many a company—
Makes sense. So let's recap. First C is communication, second C is cost, third C is convenience, fourth C is customer. The important 4 C's.
end up releasing products that no one actually needs, and as a result, they tend to flop. Looking at you, Apple Vision Pro. But before Liquid Death came around, I can assure you that people were—
Okay, look, Apple Vision Pro is high-tech, but it costs 4K, okay, actually 5K, 5 grand for a device. Bro.
not clamoring for water in a can. Monster already had the product, and they still didn't think people would want to buy it, although they do sell it now. The secret to Liquid Death infiltrating the market comes down to what I hinted at the top of the episode. It's packaging. Not the name or the cool skull, the packaging itself. It looks a whole lot like a can of beer, and that's no accident. You see, drinking alcohol isn't as popular as it once was. Drinking rates, especially among young people, have dropped dramatically over the past few decades. Just
Because I'm gonna give you my opinion, okay? We are more educated, we are more informed, there's more reporting of the negative impact of what alcoholism can do to us. And some more, let's say if you're drinking in a bar, 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m., you have to drive back home. In USA, it's a very car-centric place. You want to stay sober and not get into trouble and yourself, right?
62.
Not just yourself, but also your loved ones, your friends, your family members in the same vehicle as you. And you, the driver, is responsible for it. With great power comes great responsibility. Don't you agree?
2% of adults under 35 say they drink, which is down a whole 10% from 20 years prior. And even among those who do drink, the amount and frequency of drinking has also decreased. But just because many people are drinking less doesn't mean they don't like to go out and have a good time with those who do. Insert Liquid Death, a non-alcoholic and overall thirst-quenching drink that allows you to look like you're drinking, but without all the side effects that come with it. In fact, one of the
Without all the negative peer pressuring, it's like peer pressuring, peer belittling, peer mockery, peer ridiculing individuals. Yeah.
first places that Liquid Death tried to sell itself to was in bars. However, according to the bars they went to, bottled water just never sold well. But once they started selling Liquid Death, they couldn't keep the stuff in stock. It may not be cool to drink Dasani at a bar, or anywhere for that matter, but it is cool to drink a can that looks like an ordinary beer with a cool skull and an edgy name. And you know what? Liquid Death isn't just here to disrupt the bottled water market or fit in with the beer drinkers. It's here to disrupt everything. Take it all down. Full on scorched earth. And it's doing it all at the perfect time. Alcohol consumption is at a several decades low. Here's a tough drink that fits in at your biker gang dive bar or belting hot to go at a concert. When consumers 35 and younger have been drinking less and less alcohol, it's opened up a bigger and bigger space for Liquid Death to come in and convert even more people over to drinking water and taking care of their bodies, but in a totally metal way. And Liquid Death also has its sights on the fastest growing market in the alcohol realm, seltzers. It's been a meteoric rise for seltzers of all kinds, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. And instead of playing nice with the competition, they've decided to release their own carbonated water so that any consumers that are fans of the bubbles stick to their death instead of the claw. But the most impressive thing is they're doing all of this while sticking true to their core brand, which is never playing it safe. And I'm all for it. I'm sure you've noticed that corporate branding has gotten a little bleh lately. It feels like every day some company, especially in the food space, is rebranding their identity. But instead of making something new, fresh, and original, they're all aiming for retro, stale, and bland. And I'm not just talking about the town in Virginia. And you know why they're doing this? Because they're playing it safe. Companies used to push the envelope all the time. During the height of the Coke and Pepsi Cola wars, the two soda giants wouldn't be afraid to get in the mud and throw some serious shade. Like that Pepsi ad where a kid buys 2 Cokes at a vending machine only so he could be tall enough to reach the Pepsi button. Savage. Today, paper towel commercials won't even name the other brand they're competing with, probably out of fear of getting armless palmered. I want Oreo and Chips Ahoy to go at it like Kendrick and Drake did. I want Oreos to tell Chips Ahoy that they're not like us. I want these brands to do something. But the problem all these companies face is one that Liquid Death will likely run into soon. And that is the fact that it's so successful. There's a reason why the Cokes of the world don't hire adult film stars for their commercials. It would probably piss off a large part of their audience. Even worse,
because it is bad imaging. You're sending a very bad image to the wider audience, especially your audience is so wide. You will recognize that how awkward is it for parents to tell their kids, "Mommy, why are you drinking?" "Oh, the same drink that girl drank." "Who is she? What is she doing?" A lot of awkward conversations that you try to avoid at that age.
it might drive them away. For a company that's as large as Coke, you need to try and get in the homes and hands of every person on the planet, because if you're not getting busy growing, you're getting busy dying. These are multinational, multi-billion-dollar companies. If they make a branding choice that people don't like, it could murder their bottom line. It's not just about corporate greed either. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Because if the company suddenly tanks because they've made a marketing misstep, that's potentially hundreds of jobs that they have to cut. Thousands of people potentially affected. Liquid Death is still relatively small and growing. Sure, they made $263 million in revenue last year, but Coca-Cola literally makes that every 2 days. Even Constellation Brands, the company that owns the best-selling beer in the US, Modelo Especial, made $9.3 billion last year. Being a smaller company affords Liquid Death the luxury of being avant-garde, of being edgy, because you don't care about being in every home in the world. You're just trying to grow. But when you start to scale and suddenly increase your number of employees by 32% from 2023 to 2024, the stakes start to scale with your company. And suddenly, losing customers might mean losing your own employees. Heck, even at a smaller scale, look at us here at Theorist. Sure, there are suggestions I get, or things I might personally like to explore, but I have to take into consideration that it's not just about me. We have a wonderful community, and I have to keep in mind the people watching. The last thing I would want is to lose your trust just to be a little more edgy for views. And we have a wonderful team that we employ too. My decisions can affect their livelihoods, and I wouldn't dream of putting them at jeopardy either. So yeah, they may have been able to be the risk takers this far, but with all the success and growth they found themselves in, Liquid Death may have just themselves over. But hey, that's just a theory. A food theory. Bon appetit. And what happens when a once-beloved brand needs a reboot? Click here to learn why Crumble rebranding was actually a big PR cover-up. And as always, I'll see you next week.
I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect the ending of this video to be, to include, somewhere very similar to the UGK one. Anyways, thank you so much, hope you enjoyed, but hey, that's just a theory, a food theory. Bon appetit. Bottoms up. It's water, right? It's a water episode. Should it be bottoms up? Why did he end with bon appetit? Okay, either ways. But hey, that's just a theory. A food theory. Bon appetit. Subscribe.